Hey guys, basically I'm back with another review, and obviously the last video that I did was also another review on the toy Jazwares action figures, and today is another Jazwares review, but I also have the new 2025 Fall Convention Funko Endo-02 pop figure. Abbreviations, I don't know what they are. And I also, if you guys already know this by the title and thumbnail, I have the two currently released Endo series Jazwares action figures. So I have the Endo pop figure and the Bonnie and the Freddy Endo series figures. Now I mainly am including this guy, as this video could just be of these two things, because I mean, generally speaking, they're gonna take a while to fully unpack because it's technically like 4 figures. But I'm just kind of including this because, for one, I picked it up at Hot Topic, and also, you know, I've reviewed Fnaf Funko Pops on the channel before. Nothing's gonna stop me from not doing that, and I'm kind of just gonna go into this guy straight away first, because the Jazwares figures, they're gonna take a little longer for me to talk about and review. Pop figures not so much, so I'm just gonna get into it. And getting into it, I did. Oh my god. Okay, I need to wipe my camera. That is very shiny. Okay, and there we go. I feel like I should have kept that glare on, but oh wait, hold on. I think I can actually, if I point it in my light, it still kind of glows. There is a specific position, like there. Okay, I'm not gonna blind you guys. But anyways, onto the figure itself. It's very rare we get merchandise of the endoskeletons, let alone Endo-02. So it's very good that Funko's stepping in to finally give us the more obscure characters merchandise. And they did Endo-02 very well here. I feel like the most appealing part of him right now is the shiny material, because like more of the endoskeletons themselves, they can be shiny, but they're not really. They're more rusty metal, if anything. Not that rusty to the point where metal does what it usually does when it rusts, but it's like more, it's not so clean like this. But I'm really glad that they did this. It gives it a much more unique feel. I also like how they did the back here, because this is not really something I usually see. I am blinding you guys, I am very sorry. But this isn't a part we usually see in the endoskeletons. We don't usually see the backs. I mean, yeah, we have like models from Help Wanted and pretty much Help Wanted to base this off of, because but I don't think I've ever seen the backside of Endo-02 and with any of the models he's had. So it's very interesting to see Funko's take on it, if this is their original take on it. But it doesn't really matter. This figure is still amazing, and I actually like the white eyes on here. They actually work surprisingly well here. It kind of signifies that, and this is really just an endosskeleton. It doesn't belong to any specific character. Yeah, it's the Funko style. They always have the white eyes, but it surprisingly works. This is why I like Funko Pops more than YouTube's figures. I hate to be that guy, but I'm just saying. Although if there is one critique I have to give, it's the limbs, especially this leg. This is most likely my figure's problem, but the leg is like very wobbly. You can see it right there. Funko Pops don't usually do that besides the head, and I don't even think I can turn the head. And I don't even want to try, because this figure with his very thin limbs is probably very fragile. I'm just going to leave it like that. But that is it for the Funko Endo-02 pop figure. I'm not going to go that deep into it because I'm already having to go deep into these two. And it's like 4 figures, like I said. So I'm going to just start off already. Going to move on. Sorry, Endo-02, you're still cool. And I'm going to start this off with Jazwares Freddy. But a brief synopsis on what these guys even are. Basically, the Endo series is what Jazwares decided to do to make their lines more unique. It basically, obviously we have the endoskeleton, but we actually have like just pieces of Freddy, classic Freddy, and Withered Freddy. So yes, technically this is our first, Withered action figure, if you want to count it. I mean, I would count it, but I don't know. And the whole gimmick is that you can switch, mix and match parts. It's kind of like Funko, but not necessarily like Funko. But the other figures included in here are obviously Classic Freddy and Classic Bonnie, who we're reviewing. But later on, there's going to be Classic Chica and Classic Foxy, and along with them, the Withered versions. But it's kind of weird how they put them on the back here, and they've yet to be released. Like, they're obviously making them because they wouldn't put them on the back. But, we're just gonna have to wait for these. And also, strangely, Foxy's withering. For here, it's brown. Why is it brown? I don't know for sure, and I'm not gonna get into it. So I'm just gonna see, I'm gonna have to pull this guy out off camera, aren't I? Or no, can I do it? Oh my god. Okay, I wasn't able to do this last time with the 4-pack. So thank you, Jazwares, for allowing me to do that. Can I pull this part off? I can't. This is the part I was able to pull off in one take. I couldn't. No! Okay, so the pieces just kind of flew all over the place. I'll try to get this situated real quick. I don't know. Why am I including this in the video? Well, here's a more completed look. Actually, not really completed, but we have, you know, Classic Freddy and Withered Freddy. And I gotta pull this guy out. And I'm gonna actually kind of take these guys out. By the way, here's the look at the head. They're all separate pieces, even the jaw. It's gonna be interesting. So here is all of Classic Freddy's pieces, and it's probably gonna be the same for Withered Freddy, or maybe a little less, I don't know for sure. But here, I'm gonna start by reviewing the actual endoskeleton figure, because you could technically count this as its own figure. And it's actually a really good endo mold. Like, so like his jaw can open and such. And I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, I know for Bonnie it's the fact, but I don't know about Freddy. I don't know if Freddy, like, the thing about the Bonnie figure, spoilers, his eyes can pop off because he becomes Withered Bonnie, and Withered Bonnie has no eyes. I don't know. I don't want to break him. Can his eyes come off? I don't know. I don't care anymore. But there's these little holes in the endoskeleton figure to plop these pieces on. And you kind of see there's a little line, like a small thin line. My nails are gross. I am so sorry, guys. You can open these pieces up, and inside are these little pegs that you can stick into the holes of the arms and the torso and everything. Same with, you know, the head. I don't know how it's gonna work, and I can't really explain it to you guys. You're gonna have to get it for yourself. I mean, I could, but we'd be here all day. But that's the Endo figure, and he's actually really posable from what I've seen and just from testing it. Like right now, I can't do it with one hand because it's difficult to pose things with one hand. But trust me, this guy is pretty posable. So, good endoskeleton, but that's not the main point. That's the main point. Guys, I'm kind of regretting buying these figures. Well, I got Freddy together, but I cannot tell you guys, it wasn't hard, but it takes up so much time. And I'm not to say I'm impatient, but I don't really want this video to take too long. It's a freaking review. They're not meant to be long. But anyways, here's Freddy. So let me get on to Freddy himself. Now, I really like the mold. I think the mold itself is great. And, you know, I actually like the, you know, despite me literally kind of just saying, oh my god, that is... Despite me complaining about how long it takes to put this thing together, I will admit that, you know, the feature is still really cool. I did kind of talk yesterday, or just the last video, about how a gimmick can kind of ruin a certain figure, but not really. I would say this gimmick isn't ruining the figure, but it makes it kind of a more tedious process for collectors just wanting to have their figure. But then again, I feel like, you know, building it is still cool enough. But let me just get on to my cons. First of all, the posability once you put this, you know, guy together with his suit, it's very limited. Like, you could pose this guy around, and sure, I kind of just put him together, but not even. Like, look, you can't really do much with the arms in terms of bending them. At least I don't think. I don't know. Like, once again, when you hold figures with one hand trying to pose them, it's not easy. Biggest thing is the eyes. I just feel like the eyes should have been much smaller, because this is not how Freddy's eyes are. Like, they aren't like directly like popping out like that through his freaking suit. Like, they're more sunken in. And, you know, they either needed to give Freddy like smaller eyes or maybe eyelids, because let me just check based on the endos, like, they really don't give him that. Or I mean, okay, that I don't know why I'm counting Bonnie, but I don't think they gave Freddy eyebrows or the endoskeleton like an eyelid. Wait, eyebrows? Oh my god. Guys, I'm losing my mind. Just look at that. And I feel like that's where a lot of people kind of lie with their critiques about the figures. It's just the eyes on Freddy make him look so cartoonish. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, but it just takes away from what we'd like to see. Like, it takes away from the creepy factor. So I feel like, I don't know. It's also like the colors on here are like similar to the toys. They're very flat. There's like nothing else to Freddy. And they also didn't even bother with coloring in the, you know, the inner part of the ears, or at least making them a little darker. I do remember that the metal pieces like attaching his ears to his head were just the same color as his body. So I'm glad they changed that, but they needed to change a lot more. That's just it. They needed to change quite a few more things, at least for Classic Freddy, because this figure ain't bad, but it has lots of room to improve. Although I will appreciate that when you put this on, you can actually see the endo mouth. That's pretty cool. But you saw Classic Freddy. Now I'm gonna have to go for Withered Freddy. You know, I was gonna say something just for filler before I have to go through more torture, but what's the point? Now, here is Withered Freddy. Gotta say, I actually like this suit a lot better than Classic Freddy. First of all, the eyes, they are kind of popping out a little more than I'd like, but they're not, like, completely out of his suit. Like, there's still some sink into it. I don't know what the proper term is, but, you know, they're still somewhat sunken in. Also, he can't, like, close his jaw without, you know, showing his teeth, or he can't close his jaw and not show his teeth. That's just what it, I swear, every Jazwares video I've reviewed, I've been tweaking out. Guys, please help me. Now, unlike Classic Freddy, Withered Freddy here, despite not having much texture like how Funko does for their action figures, he does have some slight dirt on him. It's not as intense as it's actually kind of pictured on the box. We kind of see on the box, he looks like a lot darker and more withered. That's not really the case here. He's using the same colors as, you know, normal Freddy, Classic Freddy. There's still lots of very good details that actually made this guy a little bit easier to put together. Mainly the missing holes inside of him that, you know, are actually holes that you can look inside and see the endoskeleton, which, you know, just makes logical sense. I especially like the part there where you can clearly see that, and just the detail on Withered Freddy here, it's just much better than Classic Freddy. Like, if you're wanting to get the Endo pack, I would say so far that the Wizards are more worth it, and I'm probably gonna keep displaying my Endo figure as just Withered Freddy, because this is the one I like so far. This is the one out of the Freddy one I like the best. So yeah, and they actually, you know, colored the inside of the ears for Withered Freddy. Classic Freddy, there's a reason why you're just a bunch of parts. I think it's also the fact that a lot of the missing holes kind of allow for a little more posability, but that could be just me and I just didn't pose Classic Freddy enough. And rather, if that's the case, I don't care that much. Just another minor critique that kind of applies to both Classic Freddy and Withered Freddy, and I guess all of the Endo figures, is how for the shoulder joints, they decided to put them on the arm and not the body. This is just my opinion. I feel like it would have worked better if it was on the body. It just feels very weird and unnatural. Like, it just seems like a piece that's just randomly on this part of the arm. It just doesn't look right. But then again, that could just be me. And I mean, even if it is, you know, it doesn't look that bad. It's not really that noticeable. It's a lot less noticeable than I thought, or at least to me it is. But, you know, I've said enough about Freddy, and I've been on Freddy long enough. It's going to take just as long for Bonnie, so I'm not going to waste any more time. I guess I'll just show Bonnie's endoskeleton real quick, and there's not really that many differences, obviously, except for just a few, that being, like, the eyelids and the mouth for this endo, for some reason, are all gray. Like a lot of this endo is all gray, and the mouth and the eyelids were black on Freddy. So that's just kind of a weird change. I don't know why it is, but it's not really bothering me. And, you know, he also has, you know, Bonnie's correct eye color. And also, there's a lot more, like, not withering, but a lot more rust on this figure than Freddy. At least from what I could remember until... I might be wrong. I didn't pay that much attention. I was just eager to get this suit on. But, you know, it's just... You guys know the drill. So this didn't take quite as long, but here's Bonnie now. Fnaf 1 Classic Bonnie. And unlike Freddy, his teeth don't go into his mouth, so I guess that's a less goofy approach. And his eyes do kind of sink in, almost similar to Withered Freddy's, but a little more. But it still doesn't help when, you know, his eyes are super big, or at least the pupils are. I really can't say anything specific off the top of my head. Like, there's always something in my mind, and I know what it is, but I can't just say it. That's just how it works for me. And I also kind of want to point out how this specific mold for Classic Bonnie, I think, I'm 90% sure, is based off of the Help Wanted model, just based off colors and, you know, the mold. Maybe the mold is a little bit altered, but I don't know. I am kind of iffy about how they did the ears since they're just straight up. It's not a big deal, but I feel like they could have like maneuvered it to make it more unique instead of it just being straight up, because I don't know. They also did the same thing with the shoulder pads on the arms and not on the body, which I'm not going to point out for everything now, but, you know, just that. There's also holes in here, too. Like similar to how the toys had holes in their feet, so do these. So, I mean, if you just watched my Jazwares toy review, which you should still watch that, you would know what I think it is, and I'm not going to tell you, so you go watch that video, so go watch it. But yeah, there's not much else to say. Posability is still fine for Bonnie, but, you know, I feel like this is also kind of the same for just all of the figures. They're also just really nice to hold, I would say. Like, they don't feel heavy or stiff. They feel like, you know, a perfect weight and a perfect size. Yeah, but now the time has come for our faceless little thing to... We're gonna cut. And now, after a little more time, here is the Withered Bonnie action figure. I'm specifically calling it that because I'm probably gonna also keep this suit on for the Endo. So there's a lot more to unpack for Withered Bonnie here for a couple reasons. One, I didn't, you know, you'll only see it now for Withered Bonnie, but you can actually take off his whole arm, like the endoskeleton's whole arm, to give him his wires. And I just gotta say, I'm fine. Not really fine. I just really wish they colored the wires at least different colors, because this great. That's just a glob right there. That's not even a wire. Literally, look at it from this. That's fine. This okay, but no. And similar to Freddy, there's just slight dirt withering on here. That's not that noticeable, but it doesn't really make for much. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I just kind of realized this now. They probably gave withering to the actual endoskeleton because of Withered Bonnie, and most of his endo joints are, you know, the main key features of his withering parts, like his hand and foot and so on and so forth. I do appreciate, and I never noticed how different Withered Bonnie's bow tie was from classic Bonnie's. Like, I don't know why. I didn't think they were the same. I just never realized how different they were. That's just a me thing. And also, I did kind of talk about how I thought you could take the eyes out for Withered Freddy. I don't know. I don't care to test it. But, you know, you could for Withered Bonnie because obviously you had to. And this is all it has to offer for those red eyes. It makes sense. And, you know, this is how it works. I just feel like those hexagonal little, like, you know, outlines kind of take away from it. It also doesn't help that the red dots are really hard to see. And arguably, what I say is the biggest nitpick of them all is I wish Jazwares were able to find some way to remove the top part of the jaw, because Withered Bonnie only has his bottom jaw and not the top. So it just looks kind of like a weird endoskeleton with half of a Bonnie mask or something. I don't know. That's just me, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I've seen other people say the same thing. And the ears are pointing up, which, you know, saying, I don't know. There's not really, guys, if I'm being honest, I'm tired. It took so long to put these freaking figures together. I didn't think it would be this long and hard. So anyways, this is where I'm gonna leave this video or review. It's probably a lot longer than it needed to ever be, because technically I reviewed 5 figures today, but I'm just gonna quickly end this. By the way, here's all the parts, and I decided to put all the parts of Freddy back in the box, and that's how I'm gonna keep them until Jazwares fulfills my request and actually makes another Endo figure, and I can have both. Because I don't want to buy 2 of the same packs. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna end this video right now. This is gonna be probably a way longer video than I want to edit, so thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. I didn't. I mean, I did. I'm gonna let you guys off. Thank you so much for watching. And goodbye. The stutter.
I stay lit, not like flickering lights. Good vibes and good times go well like chicken with rice. Squad goes, it's me, myself, and I, and just like smart homes. Trust me, the whole club know I arrived. I just wanna step over a velvet rope and people yell my name like a welcome home. Shower me in love, my umbrella's closed.